What's going on, guys? Welcome back to a different kind of vlog. We're actually going to be telling our birth story. Not my birth story, not this one's birth story. We're going to be talking about our son Oliver's birth story. And I can't give too much away because I ruined the intro. So here we go.
So Oliver was actually supposed to be due mid-January.
January 21st.
But he came
December 15th.
So what happened was I was actually working up until
December 15th.
What's the point of this?
I'm like the filler in it.
Well, you don't need to fill that part in.
Okay.
So I was actually working up until the day that he was born. What had happened was 2 days before I was at work. I wasn't feeling well. Make a long story short, I went into labor assessment just to get checked. The OB there checked me out, did like a sweep, said, you know what, you're good. Even though you're 2 centimeters dilated and 50% effaced, you'll make it to your C-section, which was actually scheduled for
the 16th
of
January.
There you go. So I went home that day. It was a short day for me. I called in sick the next day, and Jordan was like, babes, just rest, like, you know, just chill out. Noah's going to daycare, you have a whole day to yourself. But I was feeling kind of restless. I was like, I need to do laundry, I need to fold laundry, I need to put away laundry. And then after I did all that, I slept. I slept for like 2 hours. And then when I woke up, I started getting those like crampy feelings again, but totally ignored it because I was only at like 34 weeks plus, what, 4 days by that time. That evening, Jordan goes to the grocery store to buy like snacks for us, so cinnamon buns and
5 other men.
Do you guys believe it that I had an intuition to go buy newborn diapers with Noah? And I took him and I said, buddy, there's something telling me that we need newborn diapers. And I kid you guys not, 8 o'clock that night, I was buying newborn diapers. Go ahead.
And after we put Noah down for bed, I went ahead and made those cookies and the cinnamon buns. We ate them. And through the whole time, I still wasn't feeling well, but I was just like, you know what, it's nothing. I even looked it up. They're like Braxton Hicks. So that's what I thought it of as. And Jordan was playing games, and I was turned actually around, like my back was to him, and I was reading something on the computer while
having contractions
and tracking it on my phone. Like I downloaded an app specifically. And even from that point on, so that was around 9-10 o'clock, it was already telling me, I hope your bags are packed because it's soon. But whatever, I paid no mind to it. Around that time, you were sick, so we actually parted ways. Like I went upstairs to sleep, Jordan stayed down here to sleep. And I was upstairs, I was getting ready for bed, and I fell asleep, and I still just wasn't feeling well. Noah woke up, I went into his room to comfort him the first time, went back to sleep, and the feeling just got stronger and stronger, and I was just like, oh, this just doesn't feel well. Keep in mind, with Noah, I never had contractions even after my water broke. I only had contractions with the Pitocin, so I really didn't know what it felt like. And I Googled it, and they kept saying Braxton Hicks, so I drank a lot of water. They said drink a lot of cold water, have a shower. That's what I did. And still nothing was relieving it. So what?
So at 2:30 in the morning, Ernin wakes me up in a lot of pain, basically saying that she's having contractions, and I automatically knew that we had to go to the hospital. I saw the pain that she was in. It was either the baby's coming or something's wrong. So I said, either way, we got to go to the hospital. And everything kind of just took off from there. What happened next was my mindset was pack whatever we need, just the essentials, because we had nothing packed. We had nothing ready because, again, we still had over a month to go. And get Ernin to the hospital as fast as I can. And I'm like calling my in-laws, which would be her parents.
I hope so.
calling my in-laws and say,
who's your side piece?
told them come pick up Noah at the hospital. So it was really cool that they showed up and they rushed to the hospital because, man, you know what? I was trying to make sure that Noah was comfortable. Noah wasn't, panicking or anything because we had to wake him up at like 3 o'clock in the morning. I had to make sure this one was okay. Literally, I put Noah in the car. It was freezing cold.
It was a snowstorm, guys.
It was a snowstorm.
Our kids will never be born like on a normal day. Noah was born on the coldest day of 2015. And of course, Oliver had to be born on the first snowstorm of 2016.
And
you were back and forth in the car like
I was
crazy.
running. I was running back and forth, making sure Noah's okay. Then I would run back here, but I can't leave Noah alone in the car. So I would run back. I would give him a kiss and then run back here and make sure she's okay.
Jordan was literally like our front porch because then it was like the middle area
it's not
between.
Far. It's not far.
It's not far, guys. Like
I just don't want to leave Noah alone in the car because I don't want him to feel like he's alone. So I was just back and forth. There's nothing like 30 feet away. I'm talking like 10 feet max.
Not even. It was like 5 feet. It was like as tall as me, guys. So anyways.
So we're driving to the hospital.
No, but before that, when he was going back and forth, everything was packed, and I was literally just standing at at our front foyer, and I was like, man, I feel like TMI, guys. I was like, I gotta poop. I was like, I feel like I have to poop. So I went into our powder room and I sat on the toilet and I was just like, oh, this feeling of like just having to go. And I pushed really hard and before you know, I broke my own water on the toilet. And so I'm like, crap. And Jordan's like, are you okay? Do you need help? And I'm like, no, I just broke my water. And so I'm like waddling back up to the stairs into the car while my water is breaking. And here's my hero husband.
What did I do?
You got me into the car and you drove us in a snowstorm.
But now that we're able to look back, hindsight's 2020, and laugh and we can joke around about it. I was actually genuinely worried that her water broke all over our carpet and like all over her car seat. And I'm telling her, I'm like, oh, it's good, we'll get it clean, no worries, don't stress about it. But in my mind, I'm like, man, I hope that doesn't stink. I hope that doesn't stink. It was, we just bought this house. But so like, we get her to the hospital, and here's what I'm thinking. Get inside the hospital, run, get a wheelchair, grab a security guard, go back to the car, put her in wheelchair, grab security guard, tell him to push her, grab Noah, put him on my shoulder, grab the backpacks, we go.
Why are you flexing this whole time?
You know what? I wasn't even flexing.
Okay,
I am just naturally this built.
Alright.
So none of that happened because there was no security guard. So I was the one that was pushing Ernie in a wheelchair, holding Noah, holding the backpacks, and stressing out, waiting for the in-laws to come. They finally came. They took Noah. We gave him kisses. He left. And we went to labor and delivery, and that's where...
All the while, but before that, when we got to the garage, and Jordan went looking for that security guard, he comes back to me, he goes, babes, should I push the blue light? I was like, what blue light? You're like, that blue light. I was like, what blue light?
There's blue lights that are emergency buttons to push, and I think they're emergency, like, I'm having a heart attack.
Like
emergency.
code blue?
Code blue lights.
Hence the blue light.
But I'm like, man, if I push this blue light, people are going to come. And then they'll get her to, but I don't want to push it if it's not serious, right? So, whatever. Anyways, so we get to the hospital. We get inside the labor room, and to kind of condense.
Well, this is all you, because I'm like eyes closed. I am focused on my pain. And so, like, Jordan can tell you the rest of the story because the next thing, the next memory that I really truly have was I see my OB. Why are you even going out of fridge just to drink water? I see my OB just like coming in, and I open my eyes and there she is. But
let me start from the beginning. You skipped a bunch of parts here.
Sorry.
This is my parts. So we get in there, and I go and the nurse takes over. They take her in and they take off her clothes. They start running IVs. They put the baby monitor on to test the heartbeat. And I noticed from beginning that they were having a little bit of a hard time locating the heartbeat, but they found it. And then automatically, you know, the anesthetist is already there. She's on call. She's ready to go because Ernan was originally a C-section. She wasn't meant to be a vaginal birth, but she was, you know, so they thought she was going to be C-section. Basically, she was 10 centimeters, fully dilated, and basically ready to push when she got there. And what happened was they lost the heartbeat. So pediatrics and special care, like the NICU were called. They all came rushing into the room. Our OB came, which was, you know, like a saving grace because she's awesome.
She
and
I can't say enough about this lady. Like she looks strong. Like she has a very strong face, and she sometimes doesn't look approachable, but man, but she commands the room, eh?
Yeah, she came in because she was obviously, it was 4:30 in the morning at this point, and she literally came in. She found out that there was a hard time hearing the heartbeat. She dropped her coat literally on the ground. They had the gown ready for her. She threw her hands in, gloves went on, and then she just started screaming for Ernan to push. 3 pushes, came out. They took the baby. They literally, hey, here's your baby, and then put the baby away onto like the heater, and the special care team started watching, like, you know, testing him, all his bloods and everything, his breathing, his sight, his all that stuff. And funny joke, while she was pushing, there was a pillow that had some blood on it, and our doctor actually took the pillow, and she's like, get this out of here. She threw it, but it landed like this close to her jacket. And I was like, hey man, like, I know he's like, focus here, focus. Like, come on man, it's blood, it's hard to wash out. Anyways, so yeah, so Oliver came 4:30 December 15th in the morning, weighing 5 pounds and 11 ounces. To put into perspective, Noah was a bit early and he was 7 pounds and 14 ounces. So
not as early as Oliver though.
Yeah, so they automatically took him to a special care nursery, which I followed, which has always been our rule, that if the baby goes to, baby leaves, then I follow the baby. And I knew Ernan was fine. Our OB said she was good. So I followed and I went with the baby, and, you know, they were testing blood on him and just doing all sorts of pricks and needles and everything. And he had, I think at one point I counted seven, like, he had the 4 leads going. He had a feeding tube in his nose. He had the IV in his arm, and then in the leg he had the pulse. You know, the feeding tube was because he was too young to still, he didn't have the suck swallow reflex well. So, you know, we know when we're drinking or eating to stop breathing, where he doesn't do that. He just, you know, he tries to breathe while he eats because he doesn't understand. So he would choke a lot. So in order for him to get, you know, all the nutrients and everything, he had to be fed through a syringe in his nose that went into his belly. So that part of it is done. The delivery is done. Ernan was good. She was, you know, she's always been strong. She started walking. But the real struggle was after that. Ernan got discharged on the 2nd day. And for us, it was a struggle because now we haven't seen Noah in 2 days. We want to spend time with him, but we also don't want to leave our son alone in the hospital, which, you know, the nurses were beyond amazing. And I fully trusted them with his care. But we had to be there. Well, Ernan had to be there for the feeds, right? So the hardest part was being separated. And at one point, you know, knowing that you have to go home to take care of Noah, and knowing that you're leaving your son, your newborn son, at the hospital with the nurses, right? And then the other part is, you know, you sending your son Noah away to daycare more, or to, you know, in-laws and things like that, and not seeing him that often, knowing that he misses you. That was the hardest part.
Basically, it's like your heart being torn into 2 pieces. And I mean, there was also like a debate between Jordan and I, like maybe one should just stay at the hospital, one stays at home. But I mean, that would have been harder for Noah, so it was better for us that he had a stable place to be at. So thank goodness for my parents. They were able to take him for 4 days. Like, it was kind of like a Friday or Thursday to a Sunday. We had him back on Monday, but he was in daycare during the day, and then we had him during the night. After he was put down for bed, I left to go do a feed at night, and then I come back home. It was just, let's just say, it was
hectic.
It was hectic. It was crazy. It was 12 days of just, you didn't know what was up from down. We basically did not have a Christmas. We didn't know what holidays was. I had family that came in from the States that I didn't even see. Basically, when we got home, we just came home with a box of like presents from everyone, because we honestly didn't get to spend any time with anyone, even our own son, on Christmas Day, because we were actually discharged on Christmas Eve to return to Christmas Day just to check his bilirubin. Unfortunately, his bilirubin measured high, so he got readmitted on Christmas Day. And I mean, if you had seen Jordan, he was just like, he hated the world that day. Hated the doctor, hated the nurses, hated everyone. He was just like...
Well, I was pissed because, you know, it seems like they discharged us to readmit us literally 11 hours later. And the problem was, you know, I knew at that point when we got readmitted that we're not going to have Christmas with Noah. And I think that's what hurt me the most. And
but like you said, babes, or like we had agreed, Christmas
is always where we are as a family.
Yeah.
Even if it's in March, then that's Christmas for us, and I understand that. But you know, it's hard, right? We're lucky that he won't remember this. And by no means are we upset or angry with Oliver for ruining Christmas, because that's not what happened. We're just upset that we couldn't all be together as family.
Yeah.
That, you know, Noah couldn't be with Oliver, and we couldn't be with our families and things like that. And so what we did was we sent Noah with my in-laws, her parents, to basically celebrate Christmas at their house, because all the family was there. And I said, you know what, I want Noah to... There's no point of Noah staying at the hospital with us, bored out of his mind, because I know he's bored there. Why not just have him celebrate with family, where he's loved, where everyone's having a good time, and you know, we'll stay with Oliver in the hospital. And I remember I slept on the cot that night, and we had like Tim Hortons, which is like American equivalent to
like Dunkin' Donuts.
Like Dunkin' Donuts that was our Christmas dinner, and it was like crap. Like broccoli soup was like water. It was disgusting.
But you know what? Oliver had to be like in an incubator. There was light underneath him and light above him for 24 hours. Basically, he came out so that I could breastfeed him. We cuddled him for like... Before we would cuddle him for like 20 minutes, half an hour. No, this time around, we were like, okay, 10 minutes, and he goes back in there. And he literally stayed in there for 24 hours. And you know what? By the grace of God, his bilirubins went way down, and we were released. Yeah. And we finally had our Christmas. So
it was good.
Yeah. On the 26th, I got to go home, or both Oliver and I got to go home. We opened our presents and everything. Jordan picked up Noah from my parents' house, and it was nice. On the 27th, we all woke up together, and it was just...
Yeah, it was like first day of family time.
Yeah.
So I gotta say, a lot of the stress that could have been, I guess, a tip for anybody going through this. A lot of the stress that we could have evaded, whatever, was... You could have easily just separated and done everything easier, but we did things in a way that Noah would feel the least amount of impact from Oliver coming into the world. You know, everything was done with a decision of making Noah feel more important than we are to Oliver. The first time he saw Oliver, I made it a point that myself and Ernan would go to Noah. We would grab Noah. We would, hug him and play with him a bit, and then we would walk together to see Oliver.
And Oliver had a toy.
To give to Noah as a gift, and we saw him as a family. Like, we acted as if we're all seeing Oliver for the first time as a family. That he's a gift to us. And and Noah has so far been amazing. He gives hugs and kisses. I think he's kissed Oliver more than I have. he's just been amazing. He's had maybe one or two spells of jealousy, but other than that, like, I mean,
the first words out of his mouth in the morning are
there's always lolly, and the
mommy
last
and daddy.
yeah, lolly, and then the last words is always lolly. So he loves his brother. I think Noah just can't wait till he can play with him, and
And it's like he knows not to really kind of bother me when I'm breastfeeding Oliver. He'll come, he'll want to kiss, he'll be like, kind of like, what's going on? But then he'll just go back to what he's doing. However, if I'm just holding Oliver without really breastfeeding him, then he has like a little tendency of being jealous and wants to be held. So he'll come and climb on me, and that's when we're like, gentle, gentle, gentle. But other than that, he has been such a good boy that, we're blessed.
Whoa, who's that guy? So, wait a minute, we're talking about you. So if you were to give any advice for preemie parents, what would it be?
First and foremost is make sure you have, or you're able to have, some kind of help, especially if you already have another, like an older child, because without our family, I don't think we would have been this calm or this, I guess, this sane about things. Also, be prepared. Regardless if they're a month and a half away, 2 months away, just be prepared. Because honestly, you never know when they'll decide to come. And just keep calm, and just whoever you believe in, just keep faith that everything will work out. He doesn't want me.
Hey, buddy.
I think I'm holding him funny.
Oh, it's okay.
His diaper's probably full because he just fed.
Hey, buddy.
This is his cuddle buddy.
Hey, buddy.
But that's it. Like, just basically have everything prepared for you guys. Make sure you have some support, whether it be, like, I say this to Jordan, I don't know how many times I said to you that thank you for being my rock at that, like, at that moment in time. Thank you for being calm. Thank you for just,
Oh, you didn't like that? No showboating?
just being there for me and knowing what I needed at what time, and knowing the amount of support that I needed, or just knowing when to just not talk. But you know what? All I can say is, dude, you the best. Because I'm going to cry if I actually say what I want to say.
So I'm going to end it with this. And if I was to give any advice, it would be keep faith. God will provide the answers. We prayed a lot in special care, and there was times where I was definitely tested, and that's how I felt. Oh, Mommy, you want to go change his bum? I'll finish it up. Oh,
Sure.
he's farting.
Okay, let him. So we've...
He doesn't like pooping. I'm going to end it by saying keep faith. Ernest is just changing his butt now. He's freaking out. Keep faith, and God will provide all the answers. And the one thing I know, a lot of times that I was tested, you get frustrated. You kind of think like, why me? Why is this situation happening to me? There's always people that have it worse than you. There was kids that were coming in 31 weeks, 20 something weeks. Those people that were there from November. And we were still there, and there was no sign of them going home anytime soon. That's a month in the hospital, and we were only there for 12 days. So, there's always something that happens so much more worse, and just be happy with what you got. He couldn't feed well. He had the bilirubins, he had the phototherapy done, but it could have been worse. So, on that note, that's our story. We hope we helped. If you guys are experiencing a preemie, welcome to the club. November 17th is National Preemie Day. Did you know that? I don't think Ernie can hear me. He's crying. So we're gonna go. Peace.